it works.
I'm glad it's working. I've never done this before, so I'm also kind of, dressed for the occasion.
Oh, beautiful. Lovely. Well,
I'm in my craft area, so what better?
You gotta show your stuff, right? I feel like this is kind of crooked. I'm using my vacuum as
I saw that in your video yesterday. That is very clever. I'm using a stack of boxes.
Hey, we're just being inventive.
That's right.
We're creative people, right? This is how we do things. So I'm really excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Your photography and your incredible ability to swim like a mermaid.
Thank you.
I was watching a mermaid lady swimming around in an aquarium last night with my 7-year-old, and I was saying, I had seen this when I was 7. I would have devoted my entire life to this. Like, it was like a dream, right?
It's a total dream.
So when I was watching her, I just thought, that must take incredible amounts of strength to swim like that. Did you have to do things to build up to that?
I've been swimming forever, all my life. So I was always a good swimmer, but I've also done freediving training. So I got my freediving certification. I've been scuba diving for a long time as well. And it really does. It kind of takes a lot out of you to try to do those different movements and look very relaxed while you're doing it.
Oh, I bet. I think it's just so natural to do this. It must be very tricky to swim like that.
It is. It's very tricky. It's especially hard because you're holding your breath. You're free diving while you're doing all of this. Yeah. And mermaids don't wear masks or goggles. No. So you can't really see where you're going. My personal experience is, if you're in the ocean and you have a lot of space, it's easier. Right. And you feel a little bit more free and you know that you're not going to run into anything. But when you're in an aquarium with a lot of other fish and creatures and things, and there's a, big glass in front of you that you can't quite see, it's pretty tricky.
Yeah. I can't help but wonder if the fish can see the glass, or like, they must have better vision or something.
I was thinking about that too. I honestly am not sure. At the aquarium that I've been swimming in, there's a zebra shark. Wow. I don't know how good her vision is, but she's a big girl, so maybe she can, kind of see a little bit better what's going on around her.
Are you nervous swimming with sharks?
I'm nervous swimming with any creatures. I don't want to scare them. I'm a lot bigger than they are. Even the shark that's in there, I mean, she is, I'm bigger than she is, especially with my giant silicone tail on. Yeah, I mean, I've been swimming in the ocean with sharks as well. And it is something that, things can happen and you want to be as safe as possible. One of the things that goes on in the aquarium is there's safety divers. Right. So they're always there and, kind of helping to guide you and make sure that you're not going to collide with anything, especially since you can't see very well. Yeah. So we do have kind of a system to make sure that we're keeping everybody safe, the mermaids and the creatures that are swimming around in the aquarium too.
That must be a big undertaking.
It's really, really cool though. I mean, as difficult as it is to try and think about all of those things at the same time and stay safe and look nice for, all of the kids that are watching you, it's so much fun. It's really, really fun to do.
That's just amazing. I think it's so cool that you can inspire people like that, like to be a mermaid. That's the coolest thing.
It's the best thing to be able to, try to bring people into that and get, kids and adults excited about ocean life and, keeping creatures safe. That's the best part of it.
So I'm just in awe. Some sharks. That's so cool.
I wish I could do it more. I'd love to, get a little bit more experience and kind of see a lot of other animals in the wild. I mean, that's the dream, is getting to see ocean life in their natural habitat in the wild.
lady, and she was free diving with this massive creature. I feel like it was a great white.
And a white shark?
Yeah. And I was
there's been a few of those videos going around.
Yeah, like, wow, what an experience.
Never been in the water with a shark that big. I've been in the water with Caribbean reef sharks. They are not that big.
No. They're beautiful creatures, and like,
absolutely.
It's just, ever since she was a baby, she was fascinated with sharks. She loves sharks. She's just a shark. I don't know, but she loves them, and so it's really like led us to look into it more, because she always just wants to look at pictures of sharks, and she's fascinated. But there's a lot of different kinds of sharks in the world.
Yeah, it's so fun to talk to kids about some of their favorite animals. When I was little, it was penguins. I loved all penguins, and I knew all the different types of penguins. So it's really fun to get to talk to them. I mean, when kids get a hold of something that they're so fascinated by, and they just learn everything that they can possibly learn about it. I love that. It's so cute. It takes me right back to being, the penguin girl who knows everything about penguins.
It's nice to kind of connect them and anchor them in the world we live in, and give them an idea of what wildlife is like. And
yeah,
I love it. I miss the ocean. I actually don't live by the ocean anymore. I grew up by the ocean, but
oh, nice.
live by a lake, and they're nice, but it's not the same, right? Like,
not quite the same.
Not the same.
It's a little bit different. It's different creatures.
Definitely. And I'm trying to describe to the kids, like, this is what seaweed is like, and this is what, rock pools are like. And every time we go to the ocean, it's just not long enough. You don't get enough to really get into it. But
I think that's a huge thing, too, is being able to teach, kids who don't get to go to the ocean that often, haven't ever been to the ocean, and they don't have, they don't live near enough to an ocean that they can experience that. But there's a lot of other ways that, you can teach them about those things and get them to understand how magical it is.
So I have to ask you, what is it that you create exactly? Because I see some costuming stuff, some sewing stuff. Do you, do you make your own outfits or something? Like,
a little bit. So I made my first mermaid tail that was a functional mermaid tail. My mom had made me a mermaid tail when I was maybe 9 or 10. And I said, I just have to have this. I've been, pretending to be a mermaid in the pool. And if I can have a mermaid costume on land, then I should be able to have one in the water. Why not? Right. So I somehow convinced her to try and make one for me. But we didn't know what monofins were, and we didn't know how to really make a functional fin. So it wasn't great for swimming. And I started writing a blog over all of this lockdown quarantine stuff. I posted one that is how I became a mermaid, and that talks a little bit about, the journey to, starting to do things like swim in aquariums. And I posted another one, how I made my first mermaid tail. That was back in 2016. It's just like a neoprene base, so a little bit thinner than neoprene, like a spacer fabric. And then it has a swim fabric over it, that like a pretty scale fabric, and it's shiny and it's blue. And I was using my little monofin. It's just like a recreational, like almost a kid-sized monofin. Down in the inside to have like a fully functional, tail fluke, and you can actually swim in the water. So my other mermaid tails that I've worn, I've either borrowed them or been gifted or purchased. But that first one I made myself, and I'm really proud of that.
I'm
glad I did that. Worn at the aquarium and in the Bahamas. So the shells are not real. They're made out of silicone. And have some like netting and things sewn onto them. But I love making things. I love sewing. I've been working on this white top for a little while, and some people will have seen the Instagram stories I've made about that. My sewing machine is back there. Want to have your beautiful painting that you made. I love sewing, so I try to incorporate that into a lot of things. If I've got a project, then I'm probably sewing.
Sewing's very practical.
It's a skill. It's a life skill.
It is a skill. It's like a serious skill. And I think it's so cool that you're making those shells like out of silicone. That must be very involved because you have to make a mold and everything to create that.
Have you ever worked with silicone before?
I haven't myself, but I've seen how they do it. Like I've watched the process and it looks very involved.
It is. I started, sort of researching all of this way back when I realized that people were doing this and maybe I could do it too. I was looking at, how they were making their tails and their mermaid tops and things like that. And silicone started becoming really, really popular. People were using it in special effects for movies and TV. It's a little bit expensive to work with. I've personally only ever made small things like this, but there's a lot that you can learn just on the internet of, how to make the molds and, pour the silicone right and mix the silicone right and how to use pigments. So it's just a lot of, internet research to try and figure out what to do and then trial and error to, see what's the best you can come up with.
That's very cool though. That's fascinating. All right. Well, I have a quick firing round, get to know you kind of list.
Okay.
So we're gonna fire through this.
Very much depends on the animal.
And some cats can be just jerks.
Some cats are absolute terrors. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But some cats are little angels. I've experienced those cats, and so I know that it can go either way.
It can. I know. I have 2 little angels, and they're just the sweetest cats.
Clear, Caribbean water.
Wow.
Gorgeous. Love that.
Gorgeous. Favorite show as a kid?
As a kid? I don't know. How kid are we talking?
Right, like your first thought.
I mean, I definitely watched a lot of the older cartoons, so things like Looney Tunes.
Right, like your first thought.
I mean, I definitely watched a lot of the older cartoons, so things like Looney Tunes. I loved watching Cartoon Network and getting to see things like Scooby-Doo or Dexter's Lab or the Powerpuff Girls. Actually, that reminds me, Scooby-Doo is a pretty good one. I really, really liked the original Scooby-Doo and Looney Tunes. Classic.
Yep. It is classic.
Very.
My kids love the old Scooby-Doo. It's like they've got the whole gambit of things they could watch, but they want to watch Scooby-Doo.
I love old things in general.
Yeah.
Old movies, old clothes.
They're the best.
30s, 40s, 50s.
Some things never change.
Some things never change.
Kids are all kids. They all like the same stuff. Favorite book? Like all-time favorite book?
All-time favorite book?
Or just the first book that comes to mind?
That's also a really hard one. The book that I just finished most recently is Little Women.
Oh.
I had seen such a good one. Such a classic.
It is.
I had seen the 1949 movie first, and that's probably my favorite version of it because that's the one that I saw first and the one that really impacted me. And it's such a great story, and I've always wanted to read the book, and I finally read it not too long ago. And the book is like even better than all the movies that I've seen. It's just such a great story. I find it really sort of inspiring and empowering.
Very much so. Because they're sisters who are like through thick and thin. They're there for one another.
It's a very strong family bond, but at the same time, they're so different. And, you get to see them grow past all of their flaws and idiosyncrasies and, become well-rounded adults.
I think that's a great pick. We just need Little Women Under the Sea now.
Oh, that would be amazing. Someone call.
I don't know why I'm the first one thinking of this.
I don't know. Someone call the publishing houses.
Oh yeah,
$1 million idea.
You know, right? I'm full of them. I was just every day. Okay, if you had one wish, what would it be?
I guess if it involved everybody everywhere, then, you know, we'd maybe all get along a little bit better. Just something for my life. Like, I think yesterday, she's talking about flying.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought when people ask me the superhero power question, it's either flying or breathing underwater.
Yeah. I thought you were pick to like be a mermaid for real.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things where I guess if I could sort of pick and choose and get to say, yeah, you know, I could be a mermaid that like changes back to human when she feels like it.
Totally. I think honestly,
best of both worlds.
That's a hard one. It's like picking between flying and being a real magical mermaid. How do you
That's
choose?
A pretty tough decision.
I don't know.
Maybe I'll just wish for more wishes.
Every time my kids are like bantering back and forth about wishes, that's like what they always pick is wish for more wishes. Guilty pleasure.
Oh, this probably is food. It's probably food related. Anybody that knows me knows that it's very difficult for me. I have something that I call food jealousy. And it's when you get something to eat for dinner and I get something to eat for dinner. But even though I'm really excited about what I have to eat for dinner, now I'm seeing what you have to eat for dinner and I'm jealous because it's yours and not mine.
Oh no.
I just love all different types of food and it's hard for me to not overeat. I have to kind of control myself and not do that.
Well, I mean, from the looks of things, you're doing a great job, so.
I'm trying.
You're doing better than I am, so it couldn't be that bad.
The key is that you should still enjoy food. There is nothing wrong with enjoying food.
Yeah.
That's one of the great pleasures of life. Even if it's a guilty pleasure, everyone should be able to enjoy food.
Okay, and this was one that Endrene, so shout out to Endrene. She suggested this after we talked.
Okay.
So, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Number one, mermaid.
You accomplished that.
When I was really little, I wanted to be like a singer and an actress. I'm performing as a mermaid. It's kind of in that realm, and I get to sort of, you know, put on this character and play a role. As a movie kid, I just thought that acting in movies would just be the coolest thing ever. I desperately wanted to do that.
That was kind of one of mine too. I'm sorry, I'm messing around in the chat now. I can't see properly. Anyway, I'm trying to do all the things. Yeah, but I always wanted to be an actress too. There's something about performing that's so satisfying. You do a beautiful job of it. And
thank you.
Such a pleasure. Like, I always love seeing mermaids in my feed.
I love your mermaids. It's so much fun to see the different paintings and sketches that you've done. And I love that you're doing MerMay and participating in that. That's so exciting.
I mean, I know it's a little too ambitious to try and do like one a day for me. It's just like the quality will end up going way down. So
That's hard.
It is. And
to crank out one a day.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine if you do them like really sketchily. It's easier to do like almost illustrative stuff instead of like my preference is always to make it kind of realistic. So what I've been doing is just a series of paintings. So I know I won't get one a day done, but just making a few quality pieces for my favorite time of the year is my goal for this month. So
that's awesome. I love it.
I asked my daughter, so I have 3 daughters that are born in this month. So I asked her
Oh,
what to paint, and she had the most inventive idea. She was like, they're really into this Pioneer game called Red Dead Redemption 2.
oh,
And she's like, so you should do all the legendary fish in this movie that are like a goal to catch. Like, it's like fishing, but in a video game. It's so bizarre.
okay.
These legendary fish as mermaids. And I was like intrigued by this idea because it's so different, right? Like, think of mermaids like how you are swimming in like the Caribbean and like tropical warm waters, right? But the idea of them being like in like cold kind of North American part of the continent, I thought that was really interesting and definitely gives like a different color palette. So I can do a few of those and hopefully make her proud.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, well, still in the sketch sort of level, but working towards it. Every time I do something, I'm like, well, hopefully it works. You know?
Same. I mean, you know, that's all you can do. Every time I try to make something new, I'm like, well, I guess we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's
the best.
The cool things about it, though, is it's like I see even failures, even like failings as such an important part of the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great stepping stool to other things. So I don't even care if it doesn't work out. It's like I tried that, and now I know so much more than I did before. And I'm sure it's the same for you, especially going like making silicone molds and, you know, being creative on this like very practical level where it's like I have this creative idea and I have to translate it into something I can wear in the ocean, right? Like,
trial and error process it's important to learning. I mean, failure isn't really, you know, a bad thing. It's just part of the process of learning.
totally.
And yeah, I've had some interesting moments with silicone and sewing and a lot of other things because it is form and function. I mean, all these things have to work in the water for extended periods of time. So
Yeah,
it has to hold up.
And I think I recall you saying you or posting that you also do birthdays and things like that. Is that a thing that you do?
So yes, I've done birthdays in the past. I honestly haven't done very many compared to a lot of other people out there. A lot of mermaids, a lot of the people that I know personally who a big part of their sort of mermaid business is doing birthday parties and events. So I haven't had a whole ton of experience doing that. I'm not sure how that's going to go for the rest of this year, but I have done that before, and it's really fun to, you know, make kids happy. I mean,
oh yeah,
they're pretty wowed by the whole get up.
I know that if I was a kid, that's what I would want for my birthday. And now, even now, I'd be like, come on, kids, you're having a mermaid. Like, you're I think that's so cool.
We are going to have a mermaid at your birthday party.
You're having one. It's mermaid theme. Get over it. Well, if we lived in the same area, definitely. I don't know of anyone who does that around here, but
I know there's a lot of people in Canada who do it, but I just don't know about your particular area. Yeah.
It's kind of a small
It's
area.
a weird niche thing.
It is.
And it sort of takes a lot of internet research to try and figure out where people are, and who's doing that sort of stuff. So,
for sure.
I mean, maybe you might find somebody.
I also noticed that, I didn't notice. You told me this, that you work in the medical,
Yeah.
field, right? So it's super relevant, like talking to you today, because it's not only is it MerMay, but we're also kind of, you know,
There's some wild, crazy stuff going on out there.
we're also paying tribute very, very much this time to people who are in the medical industry.
Well, and you know, I'm somebody who's definitely not on the front lines. I mean, I work in healthcare, but we do a lot of elective things where I work. I scribe for an MD, and I sometimes work in the minor OR with them, doing little things to assist them. So I definitely understand a lot about that environment. And I have this appreciation for the people who are on the front line, who are working in hospitals with, you know, people who have a lot more serious conditions than I work with. Working where I work and doing what I do really, really helps me appreciate those people and understand a tiny bit better what they're going through and what they have to do every day. I've got a couple of friends who are nurses, and I'm just in awe of, you know, what they do every day. I don't know if I would have the emotional strength to do that.
Very demanding job. I have a few aunts that are nurses, and actually one of my aunts, she writes nursing textbooks. She has a doctorate in nursing. Yeah.
All right, okay.
Like, how many people, right? How many people have like their doctorate in nursing? It is a very demanding job. Like, you're doing a lot of the dirty work, right?
Absolutely.
It must be hard because you're very much involved with the patient one-on-one. I mean, I remember when I was having one of my kids, and one of the people on the ward had meningitis. So I was watching the people like disinfect the walls and everything because it's so contagious. And I just thought, man, I'm glad I don't have your job, because that would just not be fun.
Yeah, I honestly can't imagine. I mean, it's physically demanding, it's mentally and emotionally demanding.
I can see why you'd rather be under the waves.
Yeah, I'm very lucky where I am that, you know, I sort of have this luxury of not having to go through those emotional demanding things with people who have very serious conditions. So
I am so intrigued by both of the worlds that you inhabit, the very serious and the very magical.
Magical, yeah.
So magical.
Thank you for having me on. I mean, I haven't really actually gotten to talk to you before, and we've had this, you know, a little bit of interaction online, and you've always been so kind, and I love your work, so I really, really appreciate you doing this.
Oh, well, I'm just so happy to get to know some of the people that, you know, so often people are like followers, or they're, you know, people that you are following, and it's very distant, right? Where you can feel like you really know that person, or you relate to them, but you really don't have that like one-on-one connection. And I mean, for me, I always want that one-on-one connection, because it's so amazing when you get to know a person's story. Like, your story is so unique. And even talking to Entrane, like, Entrane lives an hour away, and I've never had a real conversation with her. And so this has been really valuable to me in that way, where we really get to know, you know, I get to know who you are. You're not just a handle on the internet. You're a real human being with a story. So
I love that.
I think it's great, because otherwise I would never have known you if not for Instagram, right? Like,
that's wild to me that you're way out there in Canada and I'm way down here in Virginia, and you know, now I feel like I have, you know, a friend. I'll mermaid for you.
Yes. And we'll go out to a restaurant, because hopefully they'll be open then.
Oh my gosh, yes, please.
Well, I look forward to that happening one day. And I love seeing all your mermaid pictures. I think I would paint all of them.
Well, there's many more mermaids to come, so maybe.
Yes, definitely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking to us, Mermaid Bryn. And
thank you.
Oh, reading Mermaid Bryn's blogs are very fun. You know what? I haven't. I need to discipline myself and sit down and read some.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back and read some of these.
It's very hard because I always want to keep up with everything people are putting in the chat, but it's super difficult because, yeah, we're having a conversation and
I feel like I'm not supposed to read this while we're talking.
Yeah, I know. And I'm just going to say thank you to everyone who left a comment. You guys are awesome. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Mermaid Bryn like I did.
I also have, I'm trying to stick with the blog thing. I'm going to be posting another one this evening that is sort of the challenges of working underwater. I also have a YouTube channel and I've been trying to make more videos for that. Definitely look for me there.
Awesome. I will have to find you. I also have a YouTube channel that I horribly neglect. So you have the blog and you have the YouTube. Was there anything else that you wanted to share with everyone?
The only, sort of social media type things I do are Instagram. That's probably where I'm the most active. I really, really enjoy making videos and I want to do more of that with my YouTube channel. The blog is a new thing for me, but it's on like a Wix website that I made. So you can see a lot of my favorite pictures there and read the blog. I like to try and do events in my area, but that's not happening right now. So
that's not. You'd think there'd be a few events though where you could like just swim.
Oh, I wish that was a thing.
Well, hopefully everything will go back to normal soon and you'll be able to do more performance.
Fingers crossed. Everybody stay safe and healthy.
All right. Well, we're going to sign off and thanks for joining me and taking time out of your busy Saturday.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
More than happy. You take care and everyone else out there and have a great Saturday.
Bye.
Bye.